What's up there guys, this is Cobb and welcome to a hopefully all-inclusive video on my thoughts on the new World of Warcraft expansion, Legion. We're not going to go into a massive amount of detail on the actual changes. If you want to read up on all of the new features that are coming in Legion, there will be links for that down below in the video description. This video is basically going to be my opinions on stuff. I've been getting a ton of questions about what I think of Legion, so hopefully we'll be clearing those up right here. But if not, definitely leave any questions that you have for me down below in the comments. I'm going to be releasing a Legion-themed Q&A really soon. So I'm on the lookout for good questions on this new expansion. And with that, let's just get right into it. World of Warcraft Legion, what better place to start than with Demon Hunters. So what are Demon Hunters all about? We don't know a huge amount yet, but we do know that they are high mobility, high damage melee types. They have double jump, which is stupidly awesome, and right now I'm sort of just imagining them to be basically Windwalker monks with less CC, less healing, and more focus on evasion and brute force damage. But this might prove to be wrong as we learn more about Demon Hunters. We do know that they only have 2 talent specs, which I think is fine. They start out at level 95 or 100. I don't think that's been quite decided yet. And I believe that they will be starting out with Glaives, which is going to be a new weapon type in Legion. So what do I think about Demon Hunters? I think that they're going to be awesome. I'm definitely going to be playing one. I probably won't re-roll or anything, but a new class is new content to me. So I'll definitely be trying them out. One thing I just missed out actually is that only Night Elves and Blood Elves can play as Demon Hunters. This seemed to annoy so many people, but it really doesn't bother me a whole lot. If it has to be that way because of the lore, then so be it. You know, it's not going to stop me from playing a Demon Hunter, and I really don't think that's going to stop anybody else either. So I'll be playing one. I'm excited to see them in the game. They're probably going to be brokenly overpowered in PvP for a while because that's just the way these things go, but I'm still kind of hyped and relieved that Blizzard is giving us a 12th character slot as well for our newest hero class. Next up, we're going to go over the incoming class changes, or rather what's being called the dehomogenization of the classes. In Legion, they're actually going to try and make classes and specs feel distinctly different from one another, like they used to back in the olden days. Now, I'm so happy that they're doing this. Classes starting to feel the same. You know, especially healers was definitely making things kind of dull, or at least I felt like I never really had a reason to level, you know, more than 2 or 3 characters to max level because a lot of the playstyles kind of overlapped, sort of felt the same. Again, definitely with healers. So what do we know is happening to the classes for sure? Well, we know that melee hunters are going to be a thing. Survival hunters are going to be melee characters with a pet. Beast mastery hunters are still going to have their damage focused around their pet, while marksmanship hunters aren't even going to have a pet. I think it's awesome, and there's other stuff as well, like Demonology Warlocks being focused around demons again, not Metamorphosis, and Discipline Priests being turned into a half damage and half healing spec. It's separating up the specs, and hopefully it's going to make characters start to feel a little bit more unique again, which I really like the sound of. Next up, there will be no new row of level 110 talents in Legion. I will admit I was a little bit surprised, a little bit sad when I first heard this. Hopefully the PvP talent trees are going to make up for this. More on that though in just a bit. Because then we have artifact weapons. Artifacts are not just class-specific weapons, they are also spec-specific. It's going to be extremely weird seeing like 3 red paladins running around all using Ashbringer every now and again. But all in all, I think I like the artifacts. You can transmog them or unlock new appearance variations of the same weapon. As you level up, your artifact weapon gains levels as well, and you spend something like talent points on perks that upgrade your spells and abilities. Maybe we're actually going to learn a new spell or 2 as well from this artifact talent tree, but that's just speculation. As a PvPer though, I'm a little bit worried about upgrading our artifacts. Blizzard mentioned socketing relics into our weapons to upgrade their damage and stats. Apparently relics can be obtained through completing long-ass quest lines, dungeons and raids. Nothing said about PvP here. A little bit scared. Really hoping that they don't force it to PvE just to upgrade our weapons. I'm sure that they won't. That would just suck a monumental amount of ass. And finally, on the topic of class changes and class identity, we have the class halls. As soon as I heard that our character is going to have followers here, I nearly cried. The last thing that we want is another fucking garrison this expansion. Now, Blizzard quickly came out and said that class halls won't be like garrisons, and I hope that they mean it. By all means, you know, make them useful for leveling. Tie them into the main story arc if you want to, but I don't want to be face roll leveling my professions there or constantly sending off my followers to make me a shit ton of gold that I put no effort at all into making. For me, garrisons brought nothing good at all to my gameplay experience, so I'm skeptical of class halls. If you can make, you know, free gold from them or use them as a kind of base for professions or anything like that, then I'll consider them a failure and a lesson not learned from the shite
that was and still is the garrisons of Warlords of Draenor. And alright, this brings us to the juicy, delicious bit of Legion. The PvP changes now. It's not entirely juicy. It could definitely still go tits up, but there are some really positive things to talk about for sure. First off, and it has to be said, finally, we have PvP talents. We're going to have ourselves a talent tree of abilities that are usable only in PvP environments. Now, I don't want to hype this up too much, but this could actually be the biggest step Blizzard has ever taken towards actually trying to balance PvP. It did take 11 years, but at least now we know that it is coming. So I'm extremely excited for this. If they get this right, we could theoretically see garbage classes and specs in PvP, like arcane mages, suddenly become viable or just as strong as the ever godlike frost mages, purely because of their finely tuned PvP talents. That is, of course, assuming that they are finely tuned. It could be amazing. I'm praying that we're going to see the return of, Shadow Flame for Warlocks, maybe even Fell Flame with the PvP talents, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm optimistic, but we just have to wait and see what they come up with. Next up, we have the new honor point system, or rather, honor system, because honor points don't actually exist anymore. Now, if I'm understanding this right, in Legion, we're going to be gaining honor in the same way that we gain experience while leveling. Only instead of leveling up, we gather honor points in order to level up our PvP talents, unlocking them one by one as we gain more and more honor. It's a pretty interesting way of doing it. So instead of hitting max level and having to gear up, we hit max level and actually still developing our character's key abilities. That sounds okay on its own. Then on top of that, we have the prestige system. With the prestige system, once you've unlocked all of your PvP talents, you have the option to wipe all of your honor progress, all of your talents, start over from scratch, and begin earning all of your talents all over again. The rewards for doing this are cosmetic and a larger EP. You get things like badges on your character portrait to show off your prestige, and other stuff like mounts and maybe transmogs. Some people are QQing about this, saying that Blizzard are copying from Call of Duty. I'd say who gives a shite, it sounds like fun. It's a little bit of extra something to do. It makes playing Battlegrounds relevant again, so I love it, and with my little badge next to my portrait, I'm going to be finally recognised as the BG hero that I am. Just like honor points, conquest points are also gone. This one worries me a little bit. It's one thing to cut honor points out, but losing conquest points sort of leads us up to our next point, and that is that there is no such thing as PvP gear in Legion. Now, Battlegrounds will still be a thing because of the PvP talent leveling and the prestige system, but arenas might not be as clear-cut as that. If the only thing to attract people to play arenas is the arena titles and EP enlargement, it might not feel quite the same. I can see pros and cons. I don't think that no arena gear is a bad thing, but it is a system that's been in place for 8 years, and what I would love to see make a return is goddamn rating requirements on the cosmetic arena gear. Not just 2k or 2.2k for the whole set, but maybe 1600 for the legs, 1750 for the gloves, 1900 for the chest, and so on. Again, purely cosmetic, but I do miss the days so much when there were these little incremental goals to work towards in arena, and I think that this is a perfect opportunity for Blizzard to bring those back. One thing I will mention again though, there had better be a way for us PvPers to upgrade our artifact weapons. I'm sure that they're going to come up with something, but if they make us PvE just to keep our weapons as strong as they can every new patch, I know that a lot of people will be extremely pissed off. And finally, in this PvP section, there are no signs yet of any new Battlegrounds or arena maps in Legion. Pretty annoying, if there really is nothing new here, considering that we got nothing in Warlords either. Not the end of the world though, maybe they're working on something and just haven't announced it yet. I don't know, I don't mind so much. All I ever queue is Arathi Basin anyways. And yeah, just to cover some extra stuff, smaller details that don't really fit into any of the categories that we've been over already. We know that there are going to be no garrisons, or at least hopefully the class halls are going to be as far away from garrisons as they possibly could be. We also know that they have a lot of people working on professions. Apparently they're being beefed out a little bit. Apparently you're going to be able to become more and more adept and better at crafting, certain recipes. Maybe the more you make them, the better at creating that particular enchant or recipe you get. I'll admit I don't know exactly what they are doing here with the professions, but it's something to keep your ears open for. Our ability to fly in Legion on our old flying mounts that never get used in Warlords, at least unless you farm the achievement, is going to be the same deal in Legion as well. You're going to have to unlock an achievement in a future patch, probably around the middle of the expansion. I think that having an achievement system to unlock flying, it's nice, it's a good idea, as long as there is enough incentive to go out there and actually do it. I for one know for a fact that I'm never going to get my flying achievement and learn how to fly in Draenor because I just have no reason to do so. Everything that I need in Draenor It's in Warspear, it's in my garrison. I don't need to go out there and get flying, and the age to go out there and explore and see the world from afar isn't quite enough to draw me into doing that achievement. So all in all, I would prefer it if they just gave us flying as soon as we dinged at level 110 in Legion. But if this is the way that it's going to be, then it doesn't bother me a whole lot either. And lastly, something that's been confirmed is that there will be no number squish in Legion. The numbers are going to continue to scale up. We might be looking at health pools of over 1 million. I personally don't know how I feel about that. I don't know whether I would have preferred there to be another number squish, because they didn't really pull off the one in Warlords all that well. It's kind of Mr. Pandari numbers again already. So that's a thing. Take from that what you will. And that is going to about wrap up this video, guys. I think I've done pretty well. Squeezed it all in to what... Is it under 11 minutes right now? That ain't bad. I want to thank all of you guys for watching. Again, if you have any extra questions for me, for the Q&A that's going to be coming up in probably just 2 or 3 days after I release this video, just throw them down in the comments. I will be picking some out for that Q&A. Otherwise, leave your thoughts down below as well. I'm sure everyone's got an opinion of what we know so far on this expansion. I want to thank all of you guys for watching. Have an awesome day. I'm going to catch all of you guys just a little bit later.